Continue. All right. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay. So let me share my screen real quick. And I'm going to share you my second screen so you can see what I am talking about right here. All right. So now you can see there are, like what I said, there are different ways to access your Microsoft applications. The first one is something very familiar with you. You usually go to my.episd.org. Okay, so I'm going to type that in the chat. So one way to access is by going to my.episd.org. And you enter your EPISD credentials, your username and password, and then it gives you this look, right? You go into a somewhat similar page. Once you're in this page, you see here your Office 365 login, right? So you click on that, and once you click on that, this page will pop up, okay? So once you're in here, you can see all your different apps and maybe the files that you have been using, right? And all the recent files you've created and so on and so forth. But I want us to focus on these apps. So you have your Outlook here, your OneDrive, your Word, your Excel, your PowerPoint, OneNote, SharePoint, Teams. You can also access your Teams this way. Class Notebook, Sway, Forms, your calendar, and so on and so forth. Okay, all the apps that we have available with Microsoft. Okay, so in here, if you want to start creating your class notebook, all you have to do is click Create Class Notebook. All right, but before I do that, there is another way to access your Office 365, and that would be through ClassLink. Okay, so you can see here my ClassLink, right? Some people like ClassLink. It's your launchpad, your plaza. That's what we would call it. Some people don't like ClassLink. Some people do. It just depends on your taste. So my ClassLink, I treated this web-based app just like the way I organize my apps on my phone or on my tablet. I group them together, okay? So under EPISD Teacher Tools, for example, I will be able to find there my Office 365 just because I clustered my apps together. Which one are EPISD and other apps on my own, okay? So if I click on Office 365, and since it's already linked to my Active Directory, meaning my email and my password, I click on that, and with ClassLink one click, I don't have to enter my credentials because I've done it already before I set it up. It will just automatically do that for me, and it will also land me on the same page, okay? So the way I did it here gave me a similar page as well. Okay, so just to show you different ways of doing that. All right, so when we click on Class Notebook, like what I said, it will help you create your notebook for your class. So a class notebook, pretty much the idea is I have my notebook as a teacher, right? If I'm teaching dual language, for example, I can add my dual language partner in that notebook. And then we add all of our kids together, especially let's say if, for example, Lisa is teaching the Spanish part and me, I'm teaching the English part, we'll all be in one notebook. Her own students, who I also teach, and my students will all be in one class notebook, okay? So we can both teach the English and the Spanish portion because we are in the dual language program, okay? So you can do that with your class notebook. Or if I'm only a monolingual teacher, then I can just have, I will be the only teacher in my notebook. I'm self-contained. Then I will just have all my other students, all of my students in that notebook, right? But what if I'm elementary? I'm not self-contained, I'm departmentalized. And there are 4 teachers in my grade level, right? 2 of us teaches math, science, and the other two teaches ELAR and social studies. So whoever is my other partner for math and science, so let's say if I'm math, my other partner is teaching science, then the two of us will have to be together in the class notebook, and we need to have our students together, all 4 sections, because we're teaching all kids, we're doing math and science, then all of those 4 sections will be in our notebook, right? The same way the English counterpart and the social studies counterpart will do the same thing. Okay, hope that makes sense. All right, and for middle school, a little bit different. You will have probably, let's say, 3 sections or 4 sections of math. So you can put all that math together with you as the teacher. And then if you're teaching an elective, then you can have another notebook for your elective subjects if you're teaching elective. Okay, but if you're teaching one subject and you're doing it for all 4 periods or all 7 periods or 6 periods, then that's up to you. You can put all the kids together in one notebook. You can, but just expect that you're going to have a lot of kids because you're combining all of those sections together. Okay, all right. So I leave that up to you as a teacher, how you can manage, right? So if you can manage a big group, well and good. If not, then you might want to think of breaking it apart. So I'm going to go to my class notebook. I'm going to click that. And once I click it, okay. Sorry, I don't know why it expired. Let me just, refresh my page. Okay, let's do it again. Here we go. So it's asking me to sign in again. So it probably kicked me out just because I've been using it earlier. Yeah, all right, there you go. So I'm back in. So when you click Microsoft Class Notebook, you're gonna land on this page right here. It's gonna ask you to create a class notebook. All right, that's what we want to click. Also, in this page, if you have existing notebooks, you can add or remove students from existing notebooks. You can also add or remove teachers from existing notebooks, or you can manage existing notebooks. Okay, so just from by clicking class notebook, you can do all these different 4 actions. Okay, but for right now, we're going to create a class notebook. Okay, so I'm going to click create a class notebook. And it's going to ask you what's the name of your class. So just for kicks, I'm going to put 04, 13, 20, and I'm going to put this is my 4th Microsoft teacher training. Okay, I'm just going to call my notebook like that. All right. Now just be aware that there is a limit to the length of the title. I just haven't counted how many letters or characters I'm allowed to put in the title. So I haven't really entered counted like the maximum number of letters and characters. But Microsoft, the system will tell you if you have reached it. If the title is too long, then you will just have to shorten it. Okay. Now, once I have my title, I'm going to click next. So it accepted it. So that means I stayed within the limit. And now it's going to tell you that when you create this notebook, this is what you can expect to have. You're going to have a collaboration space, an area where you and your students can edit documents together. Your students can also delete stuff in there. They can add stuff, they can insert stuff, they can draw on the page. So that's the collaboration space, okay? So when you release a collaboration space to your students, it is important to provide structure, to provide instructions, clear instructions. Talk about norms, right? What are the rules? What are the do's and don'ts, okay? Whether they're elementary or middle school, all right? So the collaboration space, you can see here, students and teachers working together. So let us say you're doing a video conference and you want to teach them how to add fractions. So you can do that in the collaboration space. And you can have different kids jump in and try to solve a word problem or add fractions, okay? The next thing, also in your notebook, you're gonna have a content library. The content library is the place where you add your resources. Only you as teacher can make edits. Students can only copy, download, and paste. Okay, so they can copy and paste or they can download. Okay, but they cannot edit your content library. So think about, like, I love Teachers Pay Teachers. I don't know about you guys. Do you like that website too? Or Etsy, right? There's some pretty cool stuff out there that other educators use. So just for resources, I would go and do some research in there. And if I like something that is free, I'll go ahead and download, and then I'll enhance it. I'll recreate it. I'll try to use it as an example, and then I'll add on to it. Then I can add those resources, PDFs, PowerPoints, templates, worksheets, digital worksheets, links to resources, to websites and stuff like that. I can put that in my content library, and students can copy and paste that onto their notebook, or they can download it, but they cannot delete or change it. Then after the content library, you're going to have now the notebooks of your students, okay? So we're pretty small groups, so I can add everybody in the notebook. So I'm going to click next. And now if I have a teacher, if I'm in a dual language program, I can add a teacher's email address, because this is tied in with Active Directory. So I can, you know, just copy and paste the email address of my fellow teacher, and that teacher will have admin rights like I do in my notebook. Now, since I'm going to be the only teacher here, I want you guys to be my students. I'm going to go ahead and click next. And in this space here, now I can add you all's email address. So if you do me a favor, can you please plug in your email addresses in the chat so I can copy and paste it and put it in the notebook so you can be my students, okay? Let's try that. All right, thank you. So as you look at my screen while I'm adding the email addresses, look what happens. It transforms them right away into the names of, sorry, I copied, like, including the time. Hello. It's just supposed to be the email. There you go. Okay, so just give me a few minutes. So you can see here, it's identifying, it's capturing your name according to our EPISD Active Directory. Okay. Right, so I'm just adding. So it's helpful to have the roster of your class available. So all you have to do is copy and paste. So it's very important that you add the the correct email addresses of your students. Okay, there you go. Okay, so once it's in there, I don't know what happened to the other one, but let me try. I think I copied the, let me see. There you go. Okay. And then, Anne, let me copy your email again, Anne. Let me do that. Is it AM Maese? Is it, oh, because it doesn't have the ORG. Got it. Okay. Hold on. Let me type it. AM Maese. There you go. At EPISD.org. Okay. All right. There it is. And now I just want to double check I got everybody. Okay. Then I'm going to click next. So once you enter the names of your students via their email addresses, because that's just the easier way to do it, now you can set the section. So it's very important to organize your thinking and your planning so that you know exactly what are the different sections you want your students to have in their notebooks, okay? So, for example, do you want a handouts section? Is that something you need in the notebook of your students? Class notes, homework, or quizzes? In my earlier elementary session, what we did math. Again, if you're self-contained, right? We did ELAR or reading. That's for elementary. We also did science, and then social studies. Then I can add another for writing. Now, if I have like my PE teachers also, then I can have them physical education, right? Then my PE teachers can will have a section in this notebook. And also for fine arts. If I'm a 5th grade teacher and I have my orchestra, right? Then I can allot a space in the digital notebook for my students to have a fine arts section, okay? So we'll just use this as an example. Now, students can still add more sections if they want to in their own notebook. Because as my students, once you get that email via your Outlook email, you'll get that link. You will only be able to see your notebook and the collaboration space and the content library and my welcome page. You won't be able to see other people's notebooks, okay? Only the teacher can see everybody's notebooks. Fellow students cannot mess up each other's notebooks unless they know the username and password of their friends, right? Well, that's on them, okay? But typically, students don't get to see other people's notebooks, just their notebook and whatever resources the teachers provide them via that notebook. Okay, so I'm gonna click next. And once I click next, on the teacher notebook, this is how it's gonna look. My welcome page will be there. I have access to my collaboration space, my content library, and all my students in today's class, okay? Now, that's for the teacher's notebook. What about the students? So for a student, this is all what a student can see. So Amy, for example, can only see her notebook and all the subjects that she has, plus the content library and the collaboration space. Amy cannot see other people's notebooks, okay? All right, and once I'm satisfied with that, I click create. And now the system is gonna set up the notebook. So if you want, if your email is open, if anybody's email is open, you will see there the invitation going through your email. And you can open that, and that will be your access point to this notebook, okay? All right. So now I can choose to open OneNote, right? The class notebook, which is also OneNote, has an app, or online. So I'm gonna do online, okay? Simply because I am not sure if all of you have access to the application, okay? If you want to open it from the app point of view, you can. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm gonna use the online version just to make sure that all of you can access it. So here it is. So this is the notebook, okay? Here is the notebook. So typical when you create a notebook, and you'll get used to this more and more as you create more notebooks, Microsoft will give you these 3 default pages. Okay, you will have the welcome, the FAQ or frequently asked questions, and try out a staff notebook page. So they launch that right away as your resource. So you can delete all the information here if you want and start typing over it. You can do that. Okay, the same with this, you can delete that. If you want to delete some of these pages, you just do a right click on your mouse pad and then you can click delete page. Okay, so again, you can right click and delete the page. Okay, you can also copy a similar page if you like and then paste it in your notebook. You can also add a new page that way, or you can copy a direct link to this page and post it in your Schoology course. Okay, so you can do a lot of great stuff in here. All right, so we're gonna go to the welcome class notebook. And in the welcome page, you can see you can easily type, right? You can type text in there. You can change the color of your text. You can bold the text, right? You can add images, pictures. You can also add links, just like here in Microsoft, they have live links here, so you can add that, okay? I'm not sure if you can embed YouTube videos or videos coming from BrainPop. or from Nearpod, but I know you can add the link. Just take note. Yes, you can translate translate into Spanish in class notebook or in one notebook. I'll show you where it is. Yes. I haven't tried embedding a video. I haven't tried that yet, so I'll do that and see how it looks. But I know for sure you can attach links. Okay. All right. Now in the collaboration space, so I'm going to go to my collaboration. Here, if you guys are log in right now in your email and click on that link that I gave you for the class notebook, you can all jump in here right now in this space and start typing away. Okay, so you can do that. As a teacher, I also can add a page. So you can see here the page action right there. I can click on that, and when I add a page, it just adds a blank page. So if I do, let's say, fourth session collaboration space, and then I can put here, please practice our typing, editing, and drawing in this collaboration space. Then if you all are logged in here, you can start doing that. So what can you do, right? So let's say I typed hello there. You can, some of your editing tools, you can change the font, right? You can make the text bigger, so you can see that, right? You can bold the letters, you can italicize, you can underline, you can change the color, right? So just like in Microsoft Word, you can do that, okay? You can also highlight, okay? So you can highlight that too, all right? If you don't want it, just click on no color and it goes back without the highlight. You can also add bullets, right? So you can choose different types of bullets. You can number them. So you have, the students also have this ability to do that. They can do indents, right? They can also center the text. They can write align right or align left, okay? I can also highlight my text and choose a style. So if I want this as a heading, it changes that, okay? So you can, I can make it into a title, okay? I can also add tags. So if this is something important, I can do a star on that one. So these are cute tags, like if you're making notes for your students, you can add those, right? It can be a to-do, so you can check that or not, right? So pretty cool tags you can use as part of your text, okay? All right. So again, if it's a project or book to read, you can use these icons or tags to emphasize, okay guys, for today, you're gonna read this book or go to Mayon or go to iStation, and here you go. This is what you're gonna do. So you can use these symbols to help students, right, have a visual representation as to what you want them to do, okay? You can also check the spelling, okay? Students also have that. They can also set the language right here. So if you don't want the language to be English, you want it to be Spanish, you can set the language for your notebook in Spanish and students can start typing in Spanish, okay? You can also dictate. I tried dictating, like I speak in English and have the system translated into Spanish. It wasn't really that well. It wasn't really that good. I tried it. It didn't work. I thought I'll be able to pass my Spanish class, but apparently not. So anyway, but I can dictate. So if I am tired typing, I'm like, can somebody just be my secretary for a day and let me type, you know, my instructions. So I'm gonna type exactly what I wrote there. So listen up. Please practice typing, editing, and drawing in this collaboration space. There you go. So I dictated. It's like my little personal assistant. So now I just have to double check on the grammar and And it's not perfect, right? But it's easier than typing, you know? So one of those days when I just want to tell the computer what to do. So you can have that little, you know, little reprieve, okay? All right, so that's in the collaboration space. Just remember, your students can edit and they can delete. So think about your EL students or your students who needs additional support in their learning, and they can't really write, they can't really type, they're struggling with that, but they can dictate their contribution. So that's like a little support there, a really great support. It's a way to differentiate so they won't feel left out. They can still participate in the collaboration space. All right, let's go to our content library. So in the content library, this is where you push out your digital notebook, your digital files, your PDFs. So if I want to create a page, and I'm gonna put here my math resources, just as an example. So I can insert a file, right? Insert it as an attachment. And once I insert it as an attachment, I'm gonna choose my file. And let's say in my file, I'm gonna add a PowerPoint, okay? Just a PowerPoint. Then I can do that. I can click open. And now I click insert and that PowerPoint will load up as an attachment, okay? So this particular, since it's under content library, my students can download, get a copy of that, but they cannot delete that from my content library, okay? So they can download this file and download it into their computer, or they can, copy and paste it in their notebook. Okay, so it's still loading because it's quite a big file. I should have selected a smaller one, but that's just the way it goes, okay? I can also add pictures. So I can add pictures from file, from my camera, or something from online. So if I want to do something online, I want to, again, it gives you pictures here in Microsoft. So if I want to choose an animal, I'm doing a research on the white tiger, I click that, and then pictures here are allowed to be reused because they have that permission. So you don't have to even go to Google to look for an image and you don't know if it's copyright free. Well, the pictures that Microsoft provides you allows you to reuse it, okay? So you don't have one less thing to worry about. So kids can use these pictures, right? And they can use these pictures and, oops, there you go. And then they can start writing about the image if they're doing a research or anything like that, okay? You can also add links. So if you have a link, you just click the address here. If it's a YouTube link, a movie, or a video tutorial, for example, then you can have that link, right? And post it in here, then students can access that. Or an link to iStation, link to Myon, then you can add that in there, okay? You can also do audio. So you can do an audio recording. This is different from dictate. Dictate will apply the text based on what you're gonna say, right? Audio is recording. So if you want to read a passage to your students, let's say you have the passage here, and you want a voice accompaniment so that your students who are struggling readers can listen to your voice at the same time they're following the text as they read along with you, then you can do that. So if I want to just click audio, right now I am recording. So I click stop. So right away when you click audio, it will record it immediately, okay? So here, if I zoom in, there's my audio. If I click on audio, your student can click that and click play. Right now, I am recording. So, oh, sorry. So you can hear that. They can hear that, okay? So that's the audio. So if I play it again, and I have my, right now, so I have my tools up here on top. And the kids will have the same tools. They can stop, play, whatever. Okay, or they can repeat that. All right. Okay. So that's pretty cool to have. You can also do symbols. So you can add symbols that might be useful when you're creating a lesson or an activity for your students. I haven't played much with this with the math part, but there are some math tools here that you can use, right? So you can graph, you can do some algebra equations, and you can sort. You can sort stuff in here too. You can also add emojis in here. So if you have this feature available in your Microsoft Class notebook, students can use emojis as part of their writing or as part of their response, okay? You can also add forms. Forms is like Google Forms, but they have it also in Microsoft. They call it Microsoft Forms. You sign in and you can create like a on-the-spot quiz for pre-assessment or post-assessment, okay? And the nice thing too, similar to Microsoft Teams, you can use stickers. So maybe these stickers look familiar. I've used this in my training in Microsoft Teams. So if I am a science teacher, for example, if I create a page for science, and I want to add images of the planets, I just have to click on it once, and it's going to collect all these images of the planets. And then I can have my kids recreate the solar system, arrange the planets in order. They can copy these images and put it in their notebook. So let's say Amy can go to her science notebook. So she can copy this, the Earth, copy it, and then place it in her science notebook and paste it in there. And she can start doing a research about the Earth. What is the Earth? You know, so based on my instructions, and maybe I can do an audio recording telling Amy, okay, Amy, this is what I would like for you to do, da, da, da. And also audio is good to provide feedback. So I can add an audio here and say, hey, Amy, great job. I really love how you use your words, how you constructed your sentences. And then I can also say, would you mind adding more details in your research? You know, so stuff like that. So you can, and students can do that too. They can respond back to what the teacher has provided and say, Ms. Dickerson, this is what I did. This is how I did my project, yada, yada, okay? So those are just different ways where students can use the audio feature. Pretty cool. All right. Now, you can also draw, okay? So I'm gonna go back to my content library and I'm going to create a page and I'm just gonna call it my art resources, okay? I'm in my content library. I can start drawing. So I have my pencil and I can start to draw, you know, annotate, right? I can draw actual shapes, right? Okay. And whatever I draw in my content library, students can copy and paste that in their notebook. Okay, so just FYI. You can also draw in your collaboration space. So if this is our collaboration space right here, you can draw also and start annotating. Okay, so you can draw circles, you can type a message, and you can also erase, of course, your annotations. All right, you just have to click on the eraser and you can start erasing all of that. Okay. All right. So you can draw anywhere in your own notebook or in the collaboration space, or as a teacher, you can draw in one of the pages of your content. Okay. You can also change the color and you can also change the thickness of your pencil. You can also use a highlighter, use a different color and highlight, right? So you can highlight and they can color it in if they want, right? So you can be as creative as you can in your drawing. Some students, I will tell you, They want to draw as a form of response because they're just artistic that way. So that's also a good way for them to show mastery of your subject. Okay. All right. So that's for your drawing. In the view, this is the fun part. So let me go back to the welcome page. So I'm going to use the, in the welcome, the third page right here called Try Out a Staff Notebook. Okay. So under view, you will see here a command called Immersive Reader. So I want you to take a close look. So there's a good question here. Is this can this be an alternative to Schoology? Yes, and you can actually share the link to your notebook. Right here on the word share, I'm just gonna zoom in there real quick. You can share this and have anyone with the link can view. Do not allow editing, because when you allow somebody to edit, they can delete your file. You don't wanna do that, okay? Kids can have access through Schoology as well. They can, but it's easier for them just to log in using Office 365. So if, let's say, your administrator or a parent wants to see the notebook, you can just click anyone with the link can view, copy that link, right? And you copy that link again, and that link, you can paste it in your course. And the parent or your administrator can view at least that notebook, but they cannot edit. The only way a student can edit the notebook is when they log in into their Office 365, just like the way I showed you, okay? But as a teacher, you have editing rights to the whole shebang, to the whole notebook, all right? But your administrators won't, because they don't have editing rights. They can only view it. So again, if you want to copy this notebook, okay, and put it in your Schoology, you click on the share button and then put anyone with the link can view, because they can just see it, all right? And then copy the link and copy the link again, okay? No editing rights, just to view it, okay? All right, so let's go back to the Immersive Reader. And in the Immersive Reader, so let us say I click on this button right here. It's under View. I selected a page with a lot of text, so it's a great example. And once I click on Immersive Reader, you might be wondering, oh, the color is different. It's purple. Well, that's an overlay that I added. So when I was a child, I think, and I really now more strongly believe that I am an undiagnosed dyslexic student, because when I was little, I had a hard time reading, and words would jumble together, letters would jumble together. So what I would do at that time to cope up, so I can read my books, I will always have a ruler to help me go through text by text, line by line, so I can read, you know, my books. I can read the passages. So in Microsoft, this is already available for you. You can have the artificial intelligence system read this out to you. So listen to this one.
If you're an educator, check out OneNote Staff Notebook. Staff notebooks are designed to help an education staff save time, be more organized, and collaborate more effectively across their school or district.
So if I had this kind of technology when I was younger, it would have made my life so much easier. So imagine your students, your own students, who are struggling readers. But if somebody can read it to them, they'll get it. They'll pick it up right away. But they just need that assistance. And now that they're not in the classroom, they need something to help them read. Well, then you have an Immersive Reader right here. Okay, as long as you're in Microsoft, you're in a notebook or in an application in Microsoft, then that Immersive Reader tool may be available for them to use. Another nice thing about Immersive Reader, I can make my text a little bit bigger if I want to, okay? Or I can make it smaller. I can decrease the spacing or increase the spacing. I can also choose the font that I like that will be most suitable for my eyesight. Okay, so you only have 3. These are the top 3 fonts that they say are good for for support for those who struggle to read. Okay, then the overlays, you notice mine is purple because this color is very soothing to my eyes. If I use black right now, this one is too painful. I can't even look at the screen because it's painful. I can't see anything. Like the letters are just bleeding through. But if I use like white, yeah, I can somewhat read it, but I prefer a more subtle color. It's a little bit dim, not too bright. So, so you can choose which overlay you want that is most soothing to your eyesight. Okay. So you have this also in Kindles. If you own a Kindle, or if you love to read using your tablet, they also have this, but not as, I think, as elaborate as Microsoft. Another thing here that has grammar and options, I can have Microsoft Class Notebook identify the nouns. By clicking on nouns, it identifies it, right? So you can see all the nouns right now in purple. If I don't like nouns, I just want to see verbs. So since my verbs have the color red, I can see all the verbs right here in the text. If I want to know if I have adjectives in my text, it will show me in green the adjectives that I have in my text. If I have adverbs, if any, it will show in that color. Okay, pretty cool. Now, if I want to show the labels, let's say, what is that brown again? So if I have labels on, it will tell me that the brown color are adverbs. Okay, and if I have verbs on as well, well, now I not only have adverbs, but I also have verbs. So now I can see it, right? I can see them both. Okay, there you go. And I can just turn these guys off if I want to, if it's too much for my eyes. Now I can also do syllables. If I'm an L1, a language a language learner level 1, and I'm still struggling with reading the words, I can turn on syllables, and what happens is that it will help me, you know, separate the different parts of a word, right? So you can see here, I can probably this will help me be able to read out the word better. Okay, all right. Also, nice thing, the line focus. If you're familiar with line focus, this is what it does, right? It allows you to read line by line, okay? So it helps, it prevents distractions, right? There we go. I can also make the line focus a little bit bigger, couple more lines, or I can make it way larger, like almost a paragraph at a time. Or I can just completely turn that off. I can also translate. Somebody asked, can you translate the whole text? Yes, you can. If I want to translate it in Spanish, Latin American, I can do it. I can do the entire document. So if I translate the document, there it is. Now it's in Spanish. Okay, the whole thing. But if I only want a few words, let's say I'm an L2 English learner, but there's still some words that I need help in Spanish. So I'm going to choose by word instead of by document. And what's going to happen now is that if I hover and click on a word, so let's say department, what's department? So if I hover and click on the word, it gives me the Spanish version, and I can have the system read it out to me.
Departamento.
Okay, with the right accent. So I can also have save, for example. What is save? And look, if it has pictures, it will show me what save means, right? It has the picture dictionary.
Ahorrar.
Okay, so it's a good differentiation piece. It's a good additional tool to have. And that is from this book right here where I had the picture dictionary available and Spanish by word. Okay, so very good for English learners. If I do school,
Escuela.
it gives me also different pictures to support my language development by having pictures available. Okay, all right, so that's your immersive reader. Isn't it amazing? Pretty cool, and it's free. It's in there. and all you have to do is play with it. All right. So imagine your passages. And the reason why I mentioned teachers pay teachers or your Etsy, because sometimes we purchase through our years of teaching, we've purchased some passages and we put it all in Word documents. Well, why won't you copy that text and put it in your notebook and use that as an example for your activity? Then in the notebook, Immersive Reader can read that text to the kids. Okay. So just an idea. You can also change the color of your page here. So right here on page color, I can choose colors right here, and it changes the background color of my text right away, right? So if I choose another color, there you go. It changes the colors. So just little bonuses like that to help distinguish what text and the topics that you're covering. Okay.
Let me chase.
Another thing that's really cool under class notebook, if you forgot some kids, you can still add or you can remove students from your notebook. So under class notebook, you have that ability. Remember how we did that from the beginning, the first part, right? Well, it's not too late to add or remove students or add or remove teachers. You can still do that using class notebook. And what if, and I think Amy will like this one. I don't know if Amy's still here. I think I see her. She's still here. So let us say I'm in the reading notebook of Amy and I happen to chance upon, okay, a great resource, right? So for example, let me just insert a picture, okay? From my file, I'm gonna choose a file and I'm just going to choose, sorry, let me go to my images right here real quick. Dun, dun, dun. So let us say I just want to share this picture to Amy. It's something that she can use, right? So I'm going to click open and I'm going to insert that. And now I'm like, man, why did I only give this to Amy? I think all the other students can make use of this image. Well, you don't have to keep on inserting it in every notebook of your students, especially if you have 10, 20 students. What you can do, okay, reading picture, okay. So this particular page, I'm gonna click this and I'm going to class notebook and distribute the page to my group, right? Or to individual students, all right? So again, I went to a page, I went to a student's page. This is Amy's notebook. In her reading notebook, I added a picture in there and now I realized I wanted to add this to the other students as well. So under class notebook, I'm in the page that I wanted to share. I click distribute page and I do group distribution. Once I do group distribution, what happens? Here on the right side of the screen, if you notice, it's loading up. It's going to ask me to create a new group. So I'm going to create a new group and I can pull all different students in different groups. So let us say Anne, Amy, and Delia will be in group 1. And I'm going to put here group 1. Okay. Only I as a teacher and my co-teacher can see this if I have co-teachers. Okay. And then I'm going to save this. And once it's saved, just give it a moment. My group 1 consists of all of these students. Okay. And then from here, I'm going to go to group details, that arrow right there. I'm going to go back and click that in group details. And now I can assign the reading picture to all those 3 students in group 1. And when I click next, you see that button, click next, right here. I'm going to have it added where? Which section of the notebook of those 3 students will I have it added? Well, I added it in Amy's reading page. So I'm going to add it in her reading page. And I'm going to click distribute. Wait for it. And now you can see the progress. It's being distributed. So it's being copied to those notebooks of those students. Okay. And once that's done, I can now check. Was it Anne? Did Anne have it? So let me check on Anne's notebook. In her reading notebook, there it is, the reading picture. It's added automatically because I did that. And what about Delia? Does Delia have it? Let's check in her reading notebook. There it is, the reading picture. Okay, so pretty good way if you are specifically supporting differentiated resources or instruction to students based on their IEPs or based on their ability levels, then you can do it this way without you having to go visit all 20 notebooks. You can group them together. And those groups are capped, and you can keep on using those groups when you distribute these resources and activities to kids. Okay? So that's pretty much the end of our session, guys. So again, I'm gonna stop sharing here. So that's what I have. And if you have any questions, this is my email. I know I've given this to some of you already, but it's just my habit. Now, after every session, I give out my email. So for any help that you need, tomorrow my sessions will focus on Keynote, how to create student digital portfolios. So if you're interested, it's going to be posted on the conferences section of EPISD at home, and more than likely I will be using Zoom just because we're used to it, right? And so I'm just gonna post the link there, okay? And that's my email. You're very welcome. I'm so happy you find it easy attending my class. This is my passion, you know, teaching teachers. So I've always enjoyed that. So again, tomorrow's, it's a little bit different. So this is digital notebooks. Tomorrow will be portfolios. So our approach will be different. The philosophy of Apple, just FYI, you will need your Apple laptop for this, okay? Because we're gonna be using Keynote. So if you're gonna attend my session, you have to wear the hat of creating things from scratch, because that's just the philosophy of Apple, not my philosophy. Not necessarily, but you know, Apple wants you to create everything from scratch. So I can show you that tomorrow. Starting at 9 o'clock will be my session, and then from then on all the way till 4 o'clock, okay? 1 hour session, all right? So if you have any questions, just email me, and that's the end of our session. Thank you for stopping by.